what's going to come with your Cadillac is going to be 3 Allen keys. This little one's going to be for your wire stoppers for your springs. This one's going to be for the screws that hold the canopy onto the base. And this one's going to be for the screws that hold the canopy together to the top. The scissors and the razor blade are really helpful for taking things apart, and the scissors for cutting the zip ties. Hi, I'm Ken Endelman with the BB Garage, and today I'm here with Karen Frischman, and we're going to talk about
unboxing the Contrology Cadillac.
So we'll first start with taking the base out of the box here, and after we do that part, we'll get ready to set up for the top, the canopy part.
Cool. Shall we get started?
I think we're ready to get started.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right.
All right, so this is the base of the Cadillac, and it comes like this. You will know, however it comes off the truck, you have a logo on the top, you're going to have a logo on the front and a logo on the back. You want to make sure that you can see all 3 logos so that you are set up to be able to take the base out correctly. The base is really heavy, so you want to make sure that you're positioned so that you're going to have to move it as little as possible, and always bring a friend. So I know that when you put together stuff and it says bring a friend, sometimes you think, oh, I can do it myself. You cannot do it yourself. So please make sure that you have at least 2 people available when you're unboxing your Cadillac.
The other thing that you should know is that there's going to be some occasions when it might make sense to take this out of the box outside your studio and bring the base in itself, because it might be easier to carry than the box like this, because it's a big box.
Okay, that's excellent.
All right. And if you do it, right, this is what you were telling me earlier, if you do it outside or actually inside, make sure you're working on a soft surface where if you have to drag it on the ground, you're not going to scratch anything.
Yes.
Same thing on the inside too.
Uh-huh.
All right?
Awesome.
Shall
we start?
Yes, let's
All
start.
right.
Pull this open.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to open through the top.
Yeah. Yep.
There we go.
And this goes all the way down to the bottom, right?
Yep.
This goes out. All right. We've got this piece here, which we need to cut. And,
there you go. Make sure you have a box cutter available.
Box cutter available, yeah.
And be really careful where you're cutting so that you're cutting through the cardboard only and not through your apparatus, your upholstery, any of that.
You like that part. Okay. All right. And that should lift up. And this, by the way, oh, look at this instruction here. It shows you, now they tell you. Okay,
yes.
So now it tells you, open the box, lift up the lid, right? Tip it forward, and then slide it out, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to do.
Yep, excellent.
Whoa, we know what to do. Okay. All right.
All right. So
got that? That's got some important thing in it. All right. It helps when you tip it is to just to nip. There you go. If it's on a pallet, it's not going to matter, okay? Okay, now we're going to roll this forward. Mm-hmm. Make sure these staples don't cut you, okay?
Yep.
All right, you ready? It's good. All right, ready to go?
Yep.
Watch out for the staples. All right. Push this back a little bit. All right. Good time for a razor blade. Mm-hmm. I should know how to use these. Okay. Next up.
So we're going to slide this out. Now, this is the bottom of your Cadillac base. Mm-hmm. So we're going to slide it out. Now, when you're working again, make sure that you're protecting your apparatus and your floors. So I really recommend having a towel or rug or something underneath.
Let's just show this so they can see.
There we go.
What the bottom of the leg looks like.
Yep, those are the feet. Now the other thing is, in addition to unpacking, when you're in this position, you want to think about how you're going to protect your floors from the the metal base. So there are a bunch of options that you can do depending on the floor type that you have in your studio, like where your Cadillac base is going to land, but also what you need to do with your Cadillac. I know for me, I have a small space, so I usually, and I have hardwood floors, so I usually have to scoot it one direction if I want to use the standing arm springs, or scoot it in another direction if I want to use the push-through bar on the outside. So for me, for my floor situation, I use felt pads under the base, and I just, get them from the hardware store, draw out the template, and stick them on the bottom. You can also use refrigerator sliders. If you have carpet and you want it to move, you can use sticky pads or cut foam mats underneath if you want it to stay in place. So before you flip it over, before we assemble the whole thing, just put a little bit of thought into how you want to support that. Ken, do you have any other suggestions?
I don't, other than once you find the thing that you think that's going to work, try it out, see if it slips too much, too little for you, or if it's the right thing for you. And sometimes it takes more than one thing.
Yep. There we go.
Okay?
Okay, awesome.
All right. So should we try and pull this out now?
Yeah. Use all your Pilates muscles.
Hang in here.
So again, before you start all of the major assembly for this, you want to make sure that, so one, Ken's suggestion, take this out of the box. It's probably easier to carry this into your studio, again, depending on your studio situation. Two is, before you assemble it, put it in the approximate location that you want to have it in your studio. Again, it is heavy, it's sturdy, it is a solid piece of apparatus, but that also comes with a little bit of weight, so.
It's strong.
Yep.
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Let's tip this guy. There we go.
There we go. Awesome.
All right.
Do you have
Shall
another?
we get rid of the rest of the stuff and then
Yeah. Again, as we're starting to unpack, just be careful with the blade. None of the wrapping is up near your vinyl, so just make sure that you're looking at it. Okay, so we have the base out of the box. We have double checked and triple checked to make sure that we've gotten everything out of the larger box. We've moved it out of the way. Under the 4 feet, we have towels so that we can more easily move the base around the studio so that we're not lifting and moving. Again, we are Pilates teachers, so we want to make sure that we are saving our backs and our bodies as we're putting together our apparatus. So safety is always first. So that's what those 4 towels are. And now the next step, this is a base with this is a Cadillac with a toy box. Not all Contrology Cadillacs do have toy boxes, but if you do, there is a safety latch that will that comes safety tie.
actually a disposable zip tie.
A disposable zip tie that is going to keep the box closed in shipping or when we're turning it over. So Ken is going to show you how, if you do have that model, how to take the zip tie off, and then we will move on to the second part of putting this together.
Right.
So go ahead.
All right. So before you think that your toy box doesn't work, it's not working on purpose because we made it not work because we didn't want it to open up during shipment. So we're going to show you how to break the zip tie and cut it off. And so there's a couple ways that you can do this, but it's best just to get it underneath here like this. One way is you can just grab this thing down here with a pair of pliers and you can just rotate it until it comes off, right? And so this is tucked up in here. Don't need that part. You can now, it's starting to look like a zip tie. And I think what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to get it with pliers, I'm just going to cut it. And so what you do is you just kind of work at this part right here, and until you get it off. Okay, that's gone. And so now this should just lift up.
And there we go.
And that's how it goes. It's pretty simple. Then you no longer need the zip tie at all. It's just done.
Right.
Okay?
And that can go in the box that we just, of things that we're getting rid of.
Oh, the trash, yes.
Yes, the trash.
Okay. Got it. That's the zip tie deal.
We have our base. We have the toy box freed. And now we're going to start to unbox the, I call them the uprights. So your push-through bar and your rollback bar poles, the canopy, and all the springs and accessories. So the first box I want to open is the box that came in with the base. So I'm just going to come to the side. Oh, I am left-handed. All right. There we go. I have no idea what's in this box. We're going to find out. And we have our Cunha board. That comes in the small box that was with the base. So we're just going to...
I'll take that for now.
Take that. We have... Go. All right, we have the belly strap. We have the eye bolts, which are going to be, I think, the next thing we're going to assemble. And we have the strap. So we're going to I think we can undo those. All right, so these eye bolts will go on the side. We'll talk about that. We have the strap for the foot strap, thank you. We have these two little things, which are protectors for the lower push-through bar springs to make sure that they don't eat into your vinyl. So when we assemble that, we'll have that. We have your belly strap. And we also have these foot pads. So these are the contours for the feet of the Cadillac, and you can put them, Ken, you can talk a little bit more about why we would use these over the other suggestions that we made earlier.
Sure, yeah. So the reason why we've included these guys is that sometimes your floors may be a little bit cockeyed. And so, in fact, very often floors are a little bit cockeyed. So we've included these guys in there, and these are a little bit thicker than usual. So these are over about 3/8 of an inch thick. They fit underneath your Cadillac legs. They'll keep it from sliding and keep it from damaging your floor. So you might want to use these instead of a felt pad or instead of a non-skid.
Or the refrigerator non-skid. So again, if you're, sometimes in commercial buildings or older buildings, the floors aren't quite level. So this will make sure that your Cadillac stays level, so because it's got a little bit of give on those uneven floors. So just know that those come in that small box. And if that's how you choose to protect your floors, unpack that box before you flip the Cadillac base.
And then every once in a while, if your floors are a little bit cockeyed, you might find that you might want to put 3 of these on one leg and nothing on the other leg, or 1 of these on one leg and nothing on the other 3.
Yeah.
It just depends on what works and where your Cadillac's going to live.
Exactly. It's really important. I would say the most important thing is that your Cadillac is both level and stable.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right, so let's get going. Shall we unpack the larger box?
I'll put these up here.
Great.
All right.
All right, so for this box, this is really heavy. So you just want to make sure that, again, you have a friend helping you out. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so in here we have we have assembly instructions. So following this video is great, but if you, we all learn different ways. We all follow instructions different ways. I don't read instructions, but many people do, and this is how, so it's a good backup. It's good to know that it's in there, so know that it lives in this uprights. We also have a lot of the smaller accessories that you're going to need to put this part of the Cadillac together. So the first thing I want you to note, so we have our instructions. And I like to lay out all my tools before I start to put things together. I also like to know what I have. When you are unboxing, if something is missing, and in the assembly instructions there will be a full parts list, please make Balance Body know, or let them know as soon as you can so that they can send you replacements or make sure that you have what you need. All right, how to install your Contrology springs. So these are instructions for that. It also includes the Allen wrench that you need for these, so that's all together. And then we also have the two, do you call them Allen keys or Allen wrenches? I call them Allen wrenches. Doesn't matter.
Allen wrenches, Allen keys.
Yes.
Or hex keys.
Hex keys, I think that's the official name.
Yeah.
Okay, so hex keys plus all of the screws and bolts that you will need to put this together. So these are all your parts kits. There we go. Anything else small? The next thing that I would pull out are all of your springs. So we're going to talk about the springs and how to differentiate them all so you get them all in the right place. But for right now, I'm just going to lay them out. There should be one pair of leg springs, one pair of arm springs, 3 push-through bar springs with sleeves, a set of roll-down bar springs, and a set of trapeze springs. They are all labeled in their package, and they're there. We've also got handles for the, don't leave your knife on the floor, handles for the arm springs. You're going to have a set of loops for your leg springs, your safety chains. Okay, we have 2 long and 1 short for your push-through bar. We have
Better open it up.
mystery. We got to open it up. And again, I like to lay everything out so that when I do get to assembly, I have everything that I need available to me. I don't know what this is.
I think it's the trapeze that we'll see.
Oh, yes. That's a good guess, Ken. So this is our trapeze.
That's a good thing not to use a razor blade on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, only use the razor blade when you absolutely have to. That's not good. Okay. There we go.
Can I be your trash monitor?
Thank you. All right, so we have the trapeze. We're going to have a pair of fuzzies that are actually attached to the canopy, so I'm not going to pull those right now. And the one thing right over here, and we can probably grab this later, but I'm going to grab it right now because I can, is your rollback bar. All right, and in one of these packages, we will also have the sling. I believe it's in this package for the trapeze bar. So it looks like we have all of our sort of parts and accessories, and they're all laid out. So, you know, order of operations, if you guys remember math class. The next thing that we're going to do before we bring the uprights up is to attach the side eye bolts. Okay, there is a pair, and then there is a set of washers. There we go. You want to grab one, Ken?
Okay.
You can instruct.
Easy. And there's just the finish washers, right?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So this is called a finish washer, official name.
Okay. So I'm going to slide this over. So these guys screw in right here, into this one here. And basically the trick with these guys is just tighten them down by hand until they stop. and tighten them I tighten them as far as I can by hand, and I never go more than usually about a half a turn, you know, until it feels like I can't move it either way by hand, and that's how I do it. Now all these eye bolts, it's always good to check them. You know, I don't mind checking them every month, but you can even check them every week.
Yep.
And just basically grab them and see if you can bend them and see if you can rotate them. And if you can't rotate them, they're good enough. If they look like they're sticking out or they're loose, tighten them up.
Yep. Yeah, it's really important. You know, equipment maintenance, particularly on the Cadillac, the Reformer, actually all your equipment, please make sure that you check it regularly. So if you have a studio where your apparatus is getting heavy use, I recommend, you know, checking all of your eye bolts, your connection points, your spring hooks, at least every quarter, like at least, if not more. If you have a home studio and it's just you, like every 3 to 6 months is fine. And make sure that you're, you know, looking at your springs for damage and all of that stuff. You know, safety is always first.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, these things go vertical, as do all the other eye bolts.
Yep. All eye bolts on the Cadillac go vertical.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Shall we get to the heavy lifting?
I think we have to cut open there's more zip ties we have to cut.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Lots of zip ties.
Yep.
Lots of things. Again, you know, let's be careful. So for the unboxing. All right, so we're going to be very careful here.
That's a dull blade. Are you getting there? You want me to cut it?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay. My technique for this is first of all, I don't like these ones that have retractable blades, but I cut like this, like that, and I just use leverage to break it open.
I have a heavy-duty pair of kitchen shears that I usually use. Before you bring your uprights, you need to know that there is a top and a bottom. There is a rollback bar side and there is a push-through bar side of the Cadillac base. The rollback bar side has eye bolts on the top, the bottom, and the sides, and it has the Contrology logo. The push-through bar is going to go on the opposite side, and that will only have eye bolts up towards the top of the bed of the Cadillac. All right? You will not be able to use the advantages of these eye bolts for the rollback bar if we've set it up backwards. So since Ken has the push-through bar, we're going to set it up on this side.
So Karen, I have a question.
Yes.
How do we know which side of this goes towards the bed and which side goes away?
There are holes on the upright. So if you can see that we have these screw holes right here, that is going to be on the outside, and there will only be screw holes on one side, and that's so that you can secure them into the posts on the bed.
So we'll flip this around like this.
You got it?
And notice I'm not letting go of either side.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to get low here, and I'm going to lift this guy up.
And we're going to slide it.
And I mean,
in.
really.
And you know what? I'm going to come around and give you a hand.
All right.
Because it's just easier to find the guides. There we go. If you have two people. Now we're going to let it settle all the way down. Now here's another note when you're putting this together. There are ties that go around the push-through bar in packaging. If you think this might be unwielding, you can keep those zip ties in place, put this together, and then you can cut it once you're in, right? It is a little bit wobbly.
Yeah, it's important when you're lifting these things up is to try and keep them level and equally spaced so that you don't put a lot of pressure on this pivot point right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we set up
The other side?
the other side
Yeah.
and then we can screw things down?
Okay,
Great.
let's do that.
Now the rollback bar side, there are two poles. Now to get to it, we're going to have to pull the canopy out.
I think so. Okay.
All right.
So shall we just lift that up and put it down over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Now this is, I think, one of the heavier pieces. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
So which one do you want to take?
I got this guy.
Okay.
Okay. Now there is a front and a back and a top and the bottom. Again, you can tell which side goes out by the the screw holes. That's going to face away from your Cadillac bed. There we go.
You want to also make sure when you put this guy in here, you don't drop it onto the upholstery.
Yes.
so come to this from the outside, find the hole, and then drop it in. Okay.
There we go. Good. Now, again, one of the things that you can look for, just as a triple check, is that these are your leg spring hooks. They're going to face in, they're lower, and the arm spring hooks are going to face out.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Shall we do our thing?
Yeah,
All right.
let's put the sides in first.
Yes.
So sometimes you put the top on right now. It just makes it harder to line these holes up when you put these posts in. So it's better just to put the screws in now.
Yes.
And then it's less weight.
Yep. You know what? It never would have occurred to me to put the top on before I get the sides in. So it's a really good thing because we all have our ways of doing things. And it's easier. Let's align these first, make sure that they're at the right height, and then we can get the top on. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, so let's grab so the packet that you're looking for is going to have, all the bolts are silver in color, and it's going to have the 2 hex wrenches.
Yep.
All right. So I'm a little crazy about my upholstery, so I always want to make sure that I either have a towel down or I have a, just something between any of the tools or anything in the upholstery. When I'm putting things together, I actually have a bowl that I also have cats, but I have a bowl that I put everything in. So I have everything together. I can put it together. It protects everything.
Do you have a magnetic bowl?
I do. She's
such a geek. Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
I have these things. Okay. Yeah, and I have cats and they cause
Okay.
problems. Okay. So when we're starting to secure the poles, the holes will not be lined up. So again, have a friend. So we're going to have, I'm going to align it and you are going to screw the nuts in. So we're going to have to lift it up just a little bit so we can get things in alignment. And you want to make sure that you set the 2 top screws first. And I usually do both sides with the top screws, and then I come in and I tighten everything down. So you don't want to tighten it all the way. We just get everything set, and then we can finish up. Okay?
Perfect.
Cool. Let's go.
I got to tell you something. Last time I did one of these things, I got a trick.
Okay, cool.
Can I show you the trick?
Yeah. I know the trick.
With the screwdriver?
Yeah.
Take the screwdriver here and just find your hole, and then you can let it. Let's see here. That's got to go straight forward. This is going to come up. Now, just by holding that in, you might get the screw lined up to go right in first. And you can actually do this with one person.
That's great.
Yeah.
I still recommend having a friend, though.
Yeah. I can also lift this up a little bit to kind of line up the hole. Oops.
Some help?
No, I'm going to just hold it. Are you going to use the Allen key?
Yeah.
It's the first one on each side that's the hard one.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the larger Allen key in to hold.
Oh, that works. That fits
and
better.
the smaller Allen key that comes with your kit is the right one for the screw. So that way I have support and I can, there we go.
So this is why I'm the assistant.
Yeah. There we go. And so that should be fine. That should hold, and we'll be able to move on to the next one.
Okay.
There we go.
I'll take some of the weight off that screw.
There we go. So we did the top, we held it. Bottom, there we go. And again, I'm only screwing them in halfway. I just want to get everything sort of assembled. There we go.
That's always a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Just get it going, but don't tighten it up until you're all the way done.
There we go. So it's loose. And then we'll come back and we'll recheck it. Now with the push-through bar, I'm gonna not, because it's connected, so with the rollback bar side, they're independent poles. With the push-through bar side, because they're connected through the push-through bar, sometimes the alignment gets a little bit trickier. Sometimes it's a little bit easier, it just depends. So we're going to keep the bolts a little bit loose. Actually, I need the... And the reason is that when we put the canopy on top, they need to fit into the top 4 slots of the uprights. There is not a lot of play, but there's enough so that we can get this to sit correctly, and then we can move. You know, we can adjust from there. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, now to get the top on. We're actually, I think, going to need to clear things off the top of the Cadillac.
Okay.
So we're going to clean the top of the Cadillac off. We know that we have all our stuff. We're just going to put it to the side because we want to make sure that we are safe. So again, if I have any screws that I haven't used, I always put them back in the bag that they came in so that they don't become cat toys, they don't roll under the Cadillac, all of that stuff. For the last bit of putting together the frame, we need to put on the canopy. Now, a couple of things. There is a top and a bottom to the canopy. So the part with the push-through bar side is going to have 3 eye bolts, and the rollback bar side is going to have 2. So make sure before you start to bring it up, because it's heavy and it's going to go probably over your head, depending on who you are and when you're putting it together, that you have it oriented in the right direction. All right, so what we're going to do, Ken is much taller than I am, so he can help with the canopy on the ground. I usually stand on the Cadillac bed to be able to get it up and over. So you're gonna get to see both ways. All right, so I'm gonna be on the Cadillac bed. Ken's gonna hand me the frame, and I actually go inside it.
Okay.
You ready?
Go ahead.
So we're gonna come up. I'm gonna come overhead, shoulders down. There we go. And we have to aim it up. Now, the rollback bar side is a little bit harder. It's a little bit more of a challenge to slip in. Watch your fingers. As this slips down, you don't want to pinch your fingers.
And you're in, right?
I'm in.
So now I can go in.
There we go. That last one is always the trickiest. There we go. Now, you want to make sure before you lock anything down that everything is square and set into the poles. So it should be level. And just give it a little tug. Mm-hmm. There we go. And I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, so I think we're good.
We're good?
And now we're going to tighten it down. Oh, we were not.
No, I lifted up so I could
Oh, there we
make
go.
sure it's seated. Yeah, no, I did that.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so from here, we're going to tighten down. There are screws on these corners. They're hex screws, and we're going to tighten those down. And then we're going to tighten down the uprights as well, because we didn't do that before. There we go. All right, this is going to use your larger hex wrench. That's it. There we go. Can you undo your side?
Now these screws also need to be checked every once in a while too.
Yeah, on a regular basis. You know, we do a lot of pushing and pulling and hanging and pulling, and sometimes they come a little bit loose. You always want to make sure that you check them. And in addition, so the ones that hold the 4 pieces of the canopy together are tightened, but you want to check those as well periodically. Mm-hmm. Okay. So before we start to add any of the accessories, you want to make sure that the top, the canopy, is situated correctly. Now, when this came in the box, the fuzzies were on the push-through bar side. They should actually be on the rollback bar side. So I'm going to take those off first, and we're going to reset them. And we also want to make sure that the trapeze bar works fluidly across the rails. So I've loosened the 2 sides. I'm going to slide it all the way down, both sides. It should slide smoothly. Kim, what do they do if it doesn't?
If it doesn't, the best thing to do is to call BB.
Okay.
But we also have instructions on how you can adjust this so that it slides better.
Great.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out is that these have these little like nylon buttons on the end of the screw so that it doesn't mar the metal up here. You don't want to tighten these down. You don't want to really wail on them. You want to just get them firm and so this doesn't slide. It doesn't take much.
Right. All right.
So do that slowly so people can see how you put that on.
All right. So I usually have the logo out just because you can. And we've got the loop up here. So I'm going to bring that over the canopy. I'm going to slide the fuzzy through, and then I'm going to tighten it up. So if you have it correctly, you're going to have this nice little loop. There shouldn't be any twists or kinks in it, and that will make sure that they are the same height on both sides. Just give it a tug to tighten it up. When you're using these for hanging or half hanging or whatever exercises you're using them for, they will start to tighten, you know, just by use. So they're good to go from here. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think...
You tighten these guys down.
Oh, yeah, right. We got to tighten the uprights.
All right.
Okay, don't forget to do that. So that's our next step. And then once we're done with that, the construction of the Cadillac will be done. And then it's about putting together the springs and the safety chains and all of the other accessories. They're not even accessories.
Yeah, they're components.
They're components.
Yeah.
There we go. Good word. Components. I like that. An accessory implies that it's not necessary. All right, so we're going to remove any remaining packing.
That label will just tell you that we used the original kind of pipe that's galvanized.
And that's it, you know, yeah, so it's galvanized, but it's so sturdy.
Yeah.
You know, it is, it's good. Original pipe. Okay, so we can actually move our accessories back onto the bed. I think it's the easiest way to start to assemble. Again, in the packet of screws that you have, that we use to pull the uprights, you will have all the screws that you need for the uprights. You will have your the 2 Allen keys, the smaller one and the bigger one, and you're going to have 2 additional what would you call these?
Set screws.
Set screws. And those are for the canopy. In case something happens to them, you have spares. So put these in a safe place. As soon as taking the punya board out, we have 2 straps. We have a long strap. This is the sling for your trapeze. And we have a short strap. This is the foot strap for any mat work that you're going to do or any kind of anchoring. It's really important because I see this a lot with Cadillac setups that the straps get put together incorrectly. So we're going to start with the foot strap. Again, I like to be efficient in my setup, so I'm going to start from the rollback bar side and work my way over. So we have the foot strap. This is going to go again on the rollback bar side, and it's going to be clipped with the double clips onto the right here. Oops. You want to make sure that you don't have a kink in your strap. Super easy setup. Now the punya board, one of the things I'm going to talk about this because it's magic. The Contrology Cadillac has 2 different punya boards. This is the one that comes standard with the Cadillac. It's wider, it's a lovely footboard. There is a magnet that is built into the innards of this so that when you put it up to the poles, it will stick. It doesn't slide, it's nice and solid. For the setup right now, you can store it either in your toy box. I'm just gonna put it underneath just for ease at the moment. And then we're gonna set up the rollback bar. Now again, all of our springs are labeled. So with the rollback bar or the roll down bar, depending on how you talk about it, it's going to come with a set of springs. They're going to look very much like the arm springs, but there's a way that you can tell the difference. So the rollback bar is going to have a loop at the top, and it's just a straight loop. We'll look at the arm springs when we go to set them up. There's a little twist. All right, so that's how you can tell the difference. So we're going to set this up. We have 2 sets of double clips, one for the top and one for the bottom. We're going to clip it to our rollback bar and hang it up. The next thing, since I'm on this end of the Cadillac, I'm going to set up my leg springs. So we have a pair of leg springs. These are the light leg springs. Again, they're going to have these double clips at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to set them up on the leg spring hooks. For the most part, this is where they're going to spend their lives. And then I'm going to take the 2 black loops. Everything is tagged and labeled if you have any questions, so you can always refer back to that. And then we're going to hook those up. Okay. And then moving down the Cadillac, the next thing we have is the trapeze bar. So for the trapeze, we have 2 springs. So if for some reason you've moved and you no longer have your packaging, you can tell the trapeze bar from the push-through bar because there are 2. And they're going to be a little bit heavier. They're going to be a little bit wider than the push-through bar springs. There are going to be 3 that are identical, and there are going to be 2 that are identical. They will look similar, but not the same. All right, so we have that. We have our trapeze, and we have our sling strap. And so Ken, the question I have for you is, let's see if they're in here. There should be 2 quick links. Is that how you get? Yeah. There should be 2 quick links.
So I think what we did is, because on the original ones there wasn't a quick link at the top,
And there were no clips, yeah.
There were no clips. So we decided to go with the, make those eyes really small and then use the little safety things.
Awesome. Okay. So there we go. Good thing I asked. So for the trapeze bar, you can see that there is an opening right here. It's narrow so that your trapeze bar will not fall off when you go to store it, but they have built in sort of a safety for that. So this, and this is brilliant, is going to make the trapeze the same height and length as the original, because whenever you add something, it's going to change the weight of the spring and how it interacts. So they've come up with a solution. We love Balance Body for that. Ken, can you grab that?
Sure.
It's always good to have, if you bring a friend, bring a tall friend. All right, and then from here, we're going to hook up the trapeze. And that goes on the double clips. Now, for best practices, you want to bring the working part of the clips to the outside. One, as you come into the trapeze, like for the hanging pull-ups, it's going to be a little bit more comfortable on the feet. And two, you're going to eliminate the risk of opening the clips if you hit it, all right? It's not a major safety issue, but it's just something to think about. Now, to finish this up, we're going to bring the protectors down. So this is just another layer of, comfort more than anything else, to protect the clips, to protect it from somebody accidentally opening it. And then we're going to put the sling on the bottom. Okay, and there we go. So we are here, and the trapeze is now fully set up. It's open already. We're just going to move it out of the way so that we can carry on down to the other end of the Cadillac. And the next setup we're going to do is going to be on the arm springs and the push-through bar. So I'm going to start with the push-through bar springs. So we have 3 sets of safety chains. We have one short one, and then we have 2 longer ones. So the short one is for storing your push-through bar when it's not in use. And this right here, this is a quick link. And this is what's going to attach that short to actually the springs, but also the safety chains to the upper bi-bolts. So we're just going to bring it up. We're going to turn the screw, and we're going to tighten it. There we go. Okay, so that's one. This is the second one. Now, this Cadillac comes with 2 safety chains. Again, when we're dealing with safety, redundancy is great. Having 2 safety chains is better than 1, and I encourage everybody to use both. So we're going to tighten that up. And then generally to store this, I clip it here to get that out of the way. And Ken, if you want to do this one, and I'll unpack the push-through bar springs.
Got it.
So we have 3 push-through bar springs. 2 of them are going to have these leather sleeves on them, and they're going to be open at the top. These are the ones that go on the bottom. And then we have one that has a quick link at the top. It is totally closed. And then we have the double hook at the bottom. So this is the one that's going to go on to the top. We're going to open it up. Here we go. Again, this has a quick link. It's going to secure it. Ken, I'm going to have you do that because it's on your side.
Over on this side?
Yeah. Now, as far as which side you hook the push-through bar spring up, it doesn't actually matter, except if you're right-handed or left-handed, or what side of the Cadillac that you usually work on. So if your Cadillac is close to a wall and you're usually on that side, you want to make sure that it's accessible, that you're being efficient with your setup. So just know that you have a choice. For me, it's usually on that side. All right, so now we're gonna hook up the push-through springs on the bottom. So there are a couple of things that are special about these springs. Number one, you're gonna notice, and you're gonna know that they're the bottom ones because again, they're open in the hooks. And Balanced Body has these wire stoppers. They are 2 brass stoppers. There's a hole through the center, and there are gonna be these little tiny screw sets that come separate. So you want to take your tiny little Allen wrench, your hex key, and you just want to start the screw set into the stopper. Don't put it all the way down because you're going to struggle to get the spring through. And you're going to have 2 of those. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to have Ken set the springs up for us. So Ken, if you would do the honors, please.
Okay. Glasses for this one. What we're going to do is we're going to slide this one outside in, right? Then you'll see that these little brass things have these set screws in there. So you want the set screw out so you can get to it. You slide the set screw onto the end of the spring like this. You want to have about 1/8 of an inch of the spring sticking out. And then with your Allen key, just start to tighten this guy up. And I usually use the long side to drive it in there, and then to make it tight, I usually use this little one here. Got to get that in there first. Tighten that down. And so now the deal is, you can take the spring off to replace it if you want to, but it's not going to come out unintentionally. And then this guy slides up like that.
There we go. And that will protect the vinyl on your Cadillac on this end. Yes. So while Ken is doing this, I'm just going to store the push-through bar. So I'm just going to hook it up. There. You can store this to the inside or the outside, whatever works best for your studio flow.
Almost done here. Just got to go in there and tighten it up. Tight. Slide this guy up. Okay, we're good.
Great. All right, so we just have a couple of pieces to finish up, and then we will have a fully functioning Cadillac. So the next thing I'm going to hook up are the arm springs. And when we were talking about the rollback bar springs, I mentioned that the end is straight, the loop is straight. This one has a little bit of a twist in it, and that's how you know that you have your arm springs. So we have the double clips at the top, and we're going to clip them here to the arm spring hooks. And then we have the set of handles. This is where the second set of hooks will last, and we're going to put that together. So now we have our arm spring assembly. There we go. And then we just have 2 little bits to finish up. So the first thing is to put the belly strap on the Cadillac. Now the belly strap has a really great, secure, will not slide or loosen up clip at the end, right here. It's a great buckle. So usually when I do this, because it's easier to buckle at the top, I'm going to thread this through. There you go. Ken, do you want to, oh, hold on. There we go. Actually, you want to do this one?
Sure.
Cool. Here, you want the end?
Yep, go ahead and send it to me.
All right, so we're going to go under and through. Got it?
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. I'm going to check for a twist.
I got one. Hold on. Yeah, so you want to make sure that your strap isn't twisted.
How this comes through is like this. And then it comes around the teeth. So it's got to go around the teeth first. And then Karen, do you have secrets for how you want to set the height on this?
Yeah, we want it to really be, pretty tight. So the exercises that we use this for, some people use it when they're doing the mat work on the Cadillac, and so we want to be able to hook the heels. So we want it to be a little bit tighter than this. Other exercises that we do, like the swan, we want to keep the feet from lifting too high. So generally, now here's the thing about the clip, is this is really easy to adjust. We slide it forward. You're going to make sure that you're not locked into the teeth, You're going to pull this through, and it's tight. I'd probably tighten it up just a hair more. And again, each teacher, depending on who they're working with, can do this. I would say that you want to store the clip towards one end so that if you need to adjust, it's a simple slide. Now, if you have the model with the toy box, you are going to have to loosen your belly strap up to be able to get the box open. So find out whatever tightness you like, and you can put a little mark, either, you know, a little piece of tape, or, you know, I sometimes use, you know, just something to mark it so that you can always get it back to the same place. If that's not really important to you, that's fine. All right, so we're going to go here.
You can just do this.
Yep, there we go. And look, so that's where we end. Now, in order to get the toy box open, we're going to have to loosen this a fair amount. There we go. Whatever amount that you need to open it. I always slide my strap to the end and off when I open it up, and then I can bring it back, and if I have that marking, it just makes my workflow a little bit easier to be able to cinch it up wherever I need to go, set it, open the teeth, and pull it through. So we have one last little detail that I wanted to talk about before we finish this up. So one is that we have these sleeves. All right, now, again, we're always looking to make sure that we have the most longevity of our equipment and that we can. And so these sleeves are actually going to go over the double hooks on the foot strap on this end. So I'm just going to unclip the foot strap. So this, when you're flipping the foot strap up for mat work, this is just going to protect the vinyl from the clips digging into it. So we're going to slide it, and we're going to clip it, and we're good to go. So if you're wondering what those are for, that's what they're for. And come in. Almost there. The simplest thing. There we go. Take the most time. Okay, so now everything is set up. And so the way that we usually would replace a Cadillac after a session, the push-through bar is going to be stored. I personally like to store it on the outside just for the way that I work. It's just easier. Again, for safety, excuse me, Ken. I'm going to squeeze through. If I'm going to have this swing down, I want it away from a student who's usually going to be on the Cadillac. So if we had a little bit more room, I'd be on the edge. So we're going to store this here. If your studio does not have space on this side and you want to store it on the inside and that's better for your workflow, that's fine as well. We can clip it anywhere up here, just wherever that works for you. Arm springs are usually stored down here on the arm spring side. We also use them on the standing arm spring hooks on the outside of the Cadillac. Again, whatever works best for you. Trapeze bar lives on this end of the Cadillac. And for storage, if we want it out of the way, generally you are going to bring it up and over for that. So we can do that. Fuzzies live over here. Rollback bar can either live on the outside or the inside, and leg springs generally live here. So every studio is going to have its own setup, its own rules. This is one way of doing it. So always check your studio guidelines, and that way everybody knows, you know, when they come back to it, it's the way that they want it to be.
They can see if something's wrong too.
Exactly. All right, Ken, do you have anything else to add?
I don't. I think this is great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good job, Karen Frischman.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for having me. This is fun.
For any other questions about Balanced Body or Contrology products, please go to pilates.com/BB Garage. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time. And thanks again, Karen.
Thanks.